and we are officially getting into Culture Kitchen. Guys, I am so excited because I have the crew behind the Elephant Queen Outreach Program. Yo, guys, karibuni sana. It's good to have you.
Thank you.
I love the outfits. It's matching the studio. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's amazing. So we have Wes Kulolu and the one and only Inani.
Yes.
You guys, your names are really, really amazing. So karibuni sana.
Asante.
Now, first of all, for context purposes, let me just give guys a profile of this amazing documentary, The Elephant Queen, which is very emotional. I bet you probably your kid out there has watched it, yeah, if you're listening to us right here. Now, okay, there you go. So now, The Elephant Queen is a stunning nature documentary narrated by a guy called Chiwetel Ejiofor. He's a Nigerian, isn't it? Yeah. That follows Athena, a majestic elephant matriarch, as she leads her herd on a perilous journey across the African savannah. When their watering hole dries up, Athena must guide her family, including her calf and a young elephant nicknamed Mimi. Mimi is now the individual, the calf that made a lot of people cry.
Yeah.
How she died was so sad.
So sad.
So she guides her calf and the whole herd through drought, predators, and the harsh realities of survival. This film beautifully captures the emotional depth, intelligence, and leadership within elephant families, while also revealing how their survival is tied to the entire ecosystem. It's more than a wildlife film. It's a story of motherhood, resilience, and the power of nature's balance. It was directed by Mark Dibble and Victoria Stone. It was actually filmed at the Savo.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Savo and the Amboseli.
Oh yeah, yes, good stuff. Yeah, and you can actually watch it on Apple TV. And the documentary has also won a couple of awards, international acclaim for cinematography, storytelling, and conservation impact. Now I'm going to start with you, Inani.
Yeah.
Maybe you can tell us, give us a background of this really amazing program that you guys are engaged with, the Elephant Queen Outreach Program. What it's about and what inspires you guys to do what you do.
Well, I think before I dive straight into it, maybe just a little bit back history on the film itself, because then that's where it all began. And on the producers and the directors, there's one that hasn't probably been mentioned, and his name is Etienne Olive, who is our head, one of our executive directors as well. And when the three of them went into the Savo ecosystem and along the Amboseli region as well, they started filming, and it was like around the 2010, 2017 period when poaching had really gotten to its rise.
That's when it was like a crisis.
It was a crisis. And for the film directors at that period, they kept on coming across young cows that have been left alone because their parents, their mothers, the matriarchs were being poached because of their tusks, because they're the big tuskers. And they kept on going through it, and they were like, well, a lot of wildlife films have been made, and especially about elephants as well. But then for them, the constant question, or rather the realization of coming across the orphaned cows, they were like, do we want to make a film that still reveals all this madness and the crisis that is going on? Or do we want to make a film that will make people fall in love with elephants again?
Right.
So then they went for this love story that you just read about. And then when they did this, along the way, they also realized, because of course they interacted with communities while they were doing the filming, and then they realized that most of wildlife films are made within our national parks and within our conservancies, and the people who are along with them, probably when they are going through this journey with the animals, they also meet people, they don't get to watch the films. So then they said it won't be about them making a film and then selling it off because that's what they do, it's their business. But then they thought further and to have this bigger dream of an outreach, that then the film goes back to the communities, goes back to the people, so that they're able to watch the wild animals in their natural habitat, to be able to understand how an elephant behaves, because as you've read, they're not very far from the human values that we also uphold.
Right.
You know, love, friendship, connectivity, sometimes even the disagreements, you know.
The idea of family as
The
well.
idea of family as well. So then that's when the outreach program was born. And it was more in terms of how do we create an innovative way of people, of Kenyans, to appreciate, love, and understand our nature, our natural heritage in that sense. And then, of course, without it being said so loud, who would have been best to do that if it's not artists?
So, how long? So you guys are pretty much artists.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love it that are passionate about conservancy and the environment. So how long has the program lasted so far?
So far,
How long has it been?
So far, we are on phase 2. It has gone for,
We had 3 years.
3 years.
3 years,
Oh,
and then we took a break, about 2 weeks break, of course, funding and all that and preparations. And now we are on our next phase. I think
We've just done a month.
about a month. Yeah.
However, it started with a 6-month period of preparation, because as we say, we reached to a point where we will need to have more artists on board to support this amazing outreach and an innovative way of making people understand about conservation, because conservation can be deemed as a boring topic altogether.
But I was going to ask you that now. When it comes to conservation education and, of course, the environment, what sort of gaps are you feeling that you decided to come up with this, that you guys decided to be a part of and come up with this program? What gaps were you trying to fill, really?
I think it was mainly the love for nature, because I think we it's so part of us as Kenyans. We're really blessed, if you think about it, that maybe it grows on us in a different way, that we stop really being very intentional with it. But also it went to an extent of the literacy side of it, that if you don't have the information, if you don't understand it to a completion, then you experience it, and then it's almost like you drop it along the way. It's as simple as when you think of the joke that we make when we sweep our compounds, you know, or we cut down all these trees to build a beautiful house, but then you put cabro, and then at the same time you want a kitchen garden. So then you don't think of, if I don't leave the tree and then it doesn't give shade, the birds won't come, it won't be breezy. Like, it's just the literacy side of it that people really start to understand and process nature in its glory.
Fantastic. So you, so Wes, I want to jump to you right now. You've worked with schools, of course, local communities, and what's the feedback like from the students that you engage with and the teachers?
I think as a team, we inspire communities and students very differently. Some of them through the conservation work that we do, but again, looking at the team, everybody has a set of skill that when we go out to schools, they get to pick, and we realize that communities, we go with this conservation education information, but then they pick what they want to pick. And so we are like a package. So when we go out to schools, they come out in numbers. They love it. They look at it from a very different perspective. If you look at the team, we as artists and as Kenyans, first of all as Kenyans, because one thing that has been going on with conservation, many people think conservation is a white man's business.
I agree. It's for the elites.
It's for the elites.
Privileged class,
And one of the, when you asked about gaps, that's what that is what we felt was there. Brought in a team of young Kenyans who can passionately talk about these issues, but not just talk about them very boringly. Sing about them, perform about them, rap about them, create songs and dance with students about them, but also give them the facts in a very different way.
Because I remember, when it comes to, for me, how I grew up, conservancy, these conversations around environment, the conservation, climate change, it was mostly on statistics. But now you guys are bringing an element of storytelling. You know what I mean? As an artist, Kulolo, Sorry.
Lola.
Lola. I have to get the name right.
Lola.
Yeah, how powerful do you think the art of storytelling and conservancy can play out when it comes to spreading this message even more and more and more in this day and age?
It is absolutely impactful, very big, because it's a different way of breaking that norm that conservation education is boring.
Numbers, data.
When we are performing shows like our show, one of our shows, The Child of Athena, and the other one, Pori Radio, using storytelling, everyone is usually so immersed, and you get to reach to their feelings and their emotions, and then you tap into their anger, and then we are able to have those very heavy, hard conversations around how much they've gone through living around wildlife, and it's very impactful because a very beautiful thing happened when we went to Buhuta. It's 4 years later, but some of the children remembered Enane and West from phase 1, and they remembered exactly what they were told, and they're the ones who keep triggering and telling their parents, hey, you know what, we need to stand up for our environment, we need to stand up for and stop and try to mitigate this human wildlife conflict and try to coexist peacefully with these animals as well.
Let me ask you something, Kulola. When they engage with the program, do you guys showcase parts of the documentary? What kind of content do you add to the students, to the locals?
Well, we do. We usually have like a 2-day program for when we visit a community or a school. So on the first day, when we get there, we usually do pre-engagement, and then we show the film, the documentary, The Elephant Queen, and also the other one, The Elephants and the Termites, which is a follow-up on The Elephant Queen.
So
we have two.
Okay. I don't know about that one.
Now you know.
The Elephant and the Termites.
So
big and small.
Right.
For areas where phase 1 went, we are following up with the Elephants and Termites, which is more about biodiversity and coexisting and interconnectivity.
Yeah, so it's fascinating because the more I watch the documentary, the more I listen to you guys. Even when we were discussing before the interview started, I don't think people understand just how much elephants, for example, massive herds of elephants really help with the natural environment, that whole ecosystem. Like everything is so interconnected, especially starting with the elephants. Maybe you can expand on that.
Well, we like to say big and small. So I'll take you through the elephants and the termites, because that's the whole story of interconnectivity. So the story begins with an anthill. The termites are in there. They are the ones who build it. And most people don't know they use their saliva, which has mineral salts that the elephants need.
Right.
Because in regions like Tsavo, the soil does not have mineral salts that they need for growth and nutrition. So the elephants then eat. They rub
their booties
on the on the termite mound. And then so slowly, when the termite mound starts to erode, and most times it ends up being a hole. Like they eat that soil until it becomes a hole. So when it becomes a hole, water fills up. And it's interesting when you look at it, because also the parts that the water flows down to the holes, the water holes, are the parts where these elephants have also passed through. Because they use
they've got
specific parts.
Interesting.
And so when they get there, when it becomes a hole, then elephants carry killifish eggs on their skin as they travel, and it could take months. And then the water hole fills and the killifish are there, and then the spiders come, and then the frogs, and then the butterflies, and everything is alive and thriving, and it is beautiful.
That's amazing. I like how you put it. Now, Inani.
Yes.
So let's talk about the versions of course, because I'm sure there's students and folks who probably don't understand English. The versions of this documentary, and of course also the Elephant and the Termites, that's on Apple TV. So how have you got different versions, maybe in Swahili, Luo, or whatever, that can make it even more accessible and understandable to younger Kenyans?
Yes. So now the only film that we have that is on Apple Plus TV is Elephant Queen. The Elephant and the Termites, that we have it, and it's a link that we have locally, and people can access it. And both films are translated in English, Kiswahili, and Ma. And
Ma is Maasai.
Ma is Maasai.
Yeah.
Because then we realize the further we go, the Kiswahili, especially within the Ma and the Samburu region, isn't as really a spoken language as often. But those are the communities that are also really within the wild animals, if not bordering.
I agree.
So then the schools also get to still watch it either in Kiswahili or Ma. So English kind of ends at a very city-based
Yeah.
space.
Yeah.
It's here. When we go out there, it's really Kiswahili.
Yeah.
And then it will change to Ma. But also within the same schools, with the books, we have the Mimi Nawewe Learn to Read series.
Fantastic.
Yes, and
Yeah.
these books, it's a 28 books, and it's a series of all characters from the films.
Nice.
So if the kids have watched about the killifish or the Egyptian goose, who's
Right.
actually called Steven,
Yeah.
he has a very
They love
beautiful
Steven.
story, and the
Okay.
kids love it.
Yeah, oh, he's popular.
Yeah, it's very popular.
Okay.
So then, once they watch the films, they watch. We have the engagement.
Yeah.
and everything is done in Kiswahili.
Yeah.
And then the performances as well are translated in English, Kiswahili, and Ma.
Yeah.
And now that's where the interesting part comes, especially when it comes to the performances, because we are very diverse. We are a team of 17 of us.
Oh, wow.
That means we have to have reached at least every part
Of the country. Yeah.
and then if not almost.
Yeah.
So when we get to the Ma region, we have to learn how to speak Ma.
Yeah.
So you guys can actually speak a bit of Ma?
Yeah.
I can count.
Yeah, and I can say Lil Tome or Old Tome. So Lil Tome is Samburu, Old Tome is the Ma side of it.
Yeah.
But that's a fun thing of everything that we're doing. It's really custom made, and we try as much as possible
Yeah.
to kind of bespoke it to the
Right.
community that we
Yeah,
are
yeah.
interacting with.
Yeah. So, Wes, do you foresee a situation where at some point maybe you guys are going to have to traverse the whole country?
There is a big possibility.
Will you ever get to that point?
And probably not just the country,
Yeah.
probably out of the country
Oh,
too.
interesting, yeah.
Because again, you realize that the human wildlife conflicts, they happen all across Africa.
Yeah.
But I think again in Kenya, it is a very diverse thing. So you find the areas where the elephant is the issue, and people have issues with the elephant, and then you go to some places, it's snakes.
It's
And
true.
then,
Yeah.
and especially snakes. People do not understand snakes at all.
Yeah.
And you know how you see it, you just
You get scared, you want to kill it.
Yeah.
But for me, it's interesting you put it like that, because I know where I'm from in Kisumu. There's usually human hippo conflict.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And this is not a story to do with elephants only.
So in fact, for us, the elephant queen is just an entry. So we're using the elephant
Yeah.
because it's the biggest, land animal.
Yeah.
We're using it, but the truth is, we're getting into all the other species of wildlife. Because, for example, even wild dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are people who have issues with wild dogs. The hyena. People don't even. If you talk about the hyena, people will tell you,
You know what I mean?
hyena,
Yeah.
fisi.
Kwanza, I don't know whether you saw even in the news, there's areas in Nairobi, for example, like Juja, where hyenas actually killed a bunch of folks.
Yes.
Humans.
Yes.
In Rongai, I mean, that one is
that's
all over the
mad.
news.
In Ngong, like
Yeah, in Ngong.
people are driving and you see lions.
I know, man.
And lions too. It's a fact that today
Yeah.
lions are on a decrease. All right, and people do not know. People don't understand.
So the population is actually going down so fast.
Population is
Huh?
going
Very
down.
fast.
And of course, the population is going down because again, our population is getting bigger. It's
true.
And we are going into the wild more and more, and we are getting so close to them, and they feel like. Truth is, there is no business a lion walking around the streets of Nairobi, but it's pushed to that level.
Yeah, it's true.
You see.
So hold it right there, guys. We are having a conversation about a conservation education program. Now, this one is bouncing off a very amazing documentary called The Elephant Queen. And you can actually catch it on Apple TV. But there's also other, amazing products, or should I say,
Elements.
elements to that Sure. You can actually check out the website. It's elephant.co.ke.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
But now, of course, in studio, I have the Elephant Queen Outreach program. So these are the guys behind the whole, outreach, because they're doing such an amazing job, man. And tonight we're talking all things beyond the film, building environmental literacy through the Elephant Queen. I've got the team around the behind the Elephant Queen Outreach Program. Such an amazing initiative, and it's all about beyond the film. We're building environmental literacy through the Elephant Queen. Once again, folks, karibuni sana.
Asante.
Asante, thank you so
Yeah.
much.
So, first of all, I gotta be real. I envy how you guys are always traveling. You guys are deep in the wild, yani, just adding value. This is I'm a physical guy. I remember when I was young, my dad and I used to go up the Nandi Hills in Kisumu sides. I used to be the one with the binoculars mostly, and then he used to help me not get into problems in the thickets up the hill. So I'm big on matters wildlife and conversations like these ones. So let's keep it moving. So what groups, Kulola, what groups most are you guys targeting, right, in terms of age groups and for these conversations, basically? Is it like the younger folks? Is it like teenagers? It's pretty much everybody.
It's pretty much everybody. There is no limit to who can be a conservationist and who can learn about and taking care of our environment and the conflict and trying to live together. There is no age limit. Usually we say when moms come to our screenings and the theater shows, they have babies that are suckling, and also there is old people that we have to hold to put on the benches to sit.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, it cuts across all age brackets.
Yeah. And what are some of the biggest concerns when they watch what you guys do?
When they watch what we do.
Yeah, the program, for example, when it's airing, and then obviously there's a part where there's like a Q&A going on. What's the biggest concern?
Hey, this one is hot.
Yeah.
Because the one thing that is always a concern, because now our job is always around people who are living with wildlife, is the KWS and compensation.
Right.
Like that's like we were telling you about Kisimenyi yesterday when we had our engagement. And it was a heated conversation.
Sure.
And it was just circling around compensation and damages just being done by elephants to their farms and houses.
Yeah, because I can imagine when they see you guys, they're thinking, okay, fine. What are you coming to do? Just educate us? What about compensate us? Because we've been through so much. You're telling us to, help conserve the environment, but at the same time, I've got a family to feed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So how does that actually turn out, Wesley, when conversations like those ones turn out? Because it's very sensitive. Do you end up including maybe other stakeholders like the county government, KWS guys? How does it turn out?
Well, good thing is, as an outreach, we are pegged on our partners. So everywhere we go, we have partners. So and the partners are already working on those areas. KWS is our biggest stakeholder in terms of information, in terms of education. And so when they come in, they clarify some issues.
Right.
Issues to do with compensation have been, it's been a sticky issue all along. And they have to wait for money to come from the government. They're not the custodians of the money. And because people see them, people think, oh, KWS, you've come back and you don't have our money. So it's been a long time thing going on. But as we speak right now, good thing is when they come on the ground, like yesterday we had them, we always have them so that they can answer questions from the audience.
Right.
But then yesterday, we were speaking about a different scheme for compensation that the government is piloting so that they can clear the baggage that has been there. And if this goes on well, it will be a game changer on the compensation issue. Because people, as it is right now, there are people who've been waiting for compensation from as long as 2013.
When you're
2014.
Some of the biggest issues that they go through is probably even some of their family members have been killed by wild animals.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sure Kwanzaa, that's a very sensitive one.
It is very sensitive. I remember this time we are performing. We're performing, and in our play, the matriarch elephant, Athena, killed a boy.
Oh, wow.
And so we are performing, and the Nane is crying. As a performer, she's a very good actress. But then this mama is just seated on the sides, And when we ask for, engagement, she raises her hand and she says, I don't know if you guys understand, but my son was killed by an elephant in 2016. And at that moment, we all freeze. You do not know what to say,
I know.
what to do.
Yeah.
And these are very pertinent issues. And you see, a life lost, even if it's one life, in 10 years, they will still speak about it.
Yeah.
And so and you see the issues with communities, it's not just about the wild animals. There's climate change.
Of course.
That we are also causing. We went to a forest, it's Nyakuri Forest, where the forest is being burned. Every day, a big forest is just turning into tree stumps every single day. And guys are telling you, what do? We need to feed our kids. But again, what people don't do is they don't think about 20, 30 years from now.
Yeah.
What happens in 20 years, in 30 years, when the forest is done? What happens to the water catchment areas?
Yeah.
What happens to the wildlife that was there? What happens to the people living there? Because she was talking about these elephants, for example. What we don't know is these elephants walked this land long before us.
Correct.
And they fertilize this land. You see, so many areas, especially in the coast and along the Taitas and all that, the land, people still don't use a lot of fertilizer. You know why?
Because of the elephants.
Because the elephants were there.
Yeah.
And so people do not have this. They don't understand this. And so when you get rid of them, when you kill them, when you have enmity with them, you will lose. Not now, but you will lose in due time.
It's fascinating. And Enane, obviously the curriculum has evolved now to CBC. Yeah, do you think we need to align to programs such as the outreach one, for example? Yeah.
Most definitely. And I say that because within also us doing the theatre, as we keep saying, and combining it with the film, our third pillar is the literacy side of it. And that I had initially mentioned something that we call Mimi na Wewe Learn to Read series. And this is basically going into schools, because it's not our target audience are the schools that are within these areas bordering and near the national parks, but also we reach children in the cities. When we go through it, and we are going probably to like Kipia, we'll stop into a couple of schools, and when we're there, it's also more of this child watching the film, reading this book about this particular character in the film, but again knowing that there's a child in this other school on the other end who is living with this animal on a daily and with fear, and they have trauma on all this that they read and just see on screens. So for us, we're kind of angling it in a way that it's more innovative, and I think CBC allows and supports that, if I understand it to that extent. But also our theatre has puppetry. We use puppets as
that's nice.
Yeah, we have the elephant, we have the hyena, we have butterflies, we have birds, warthog as well.
We have a baby elephant too.
We have a baby elephant as well.
Yeah.
And all these are puppets that come on stage and come to life
Yep.
when they're being manipulated by the team members when we're doing the shows. And most teachers have said to us, goodness, this is CBC. Why would a child be taught how to cook and not be taught how to create their own imagination of what they think a snake looks like?
Right.
So we are looking at it with a great possibility that it can still go into CBC.
Do you think the media, and also not just media, but also filmmakers out there in the mainstream especially, do you think we're normalizing conversations to do with the environment, conservancy, climate change? Is it becoming mainstream yet? Ahmad, there's a lot more we can do.
Wow, I think there's a lot more we can do. I think it's within the conversations, but at a greater scale, within our creating and everything. There's an article we were just reading about in the 6 months preparation period when we were like going into the immersion and trying to also equip ourselves like in terms of literacy, what is out there, what we know, what can we research on. And the article, the headline was very catchy, and I remember it saying, we as creatives, as artists, we have to start writing as though it is times of crisis. It's time for a crisis because we literally just have to get out there. When we talk about our theatre performances, Wes has just mentioned on top, but just to give you a synopsis of why I'm saying this is in the sense that the trial of Athena, which is also translated to Mashtaka ya Athena, is a performance where we put an elephant, Athena, the lead matriarch.
For real?
Yes, in court. And then we have a judge. We have the defense and the prosecutor.
Yeah.
And then we have witnesses coming on stand.
No way.
And our community audience decide whether this Athena is guilty for manslaughter or not guilty or guilty.
So the
for
case is like a
killing
practical situation that
Yes.
happens in the community or
Killing
the
a
environment.
4-year-old.
Brilliant.
Yes, and,
Oh
and
my
all
God.
facts are brought there. But then because this is also critically looking at these situations that are going on the ground, how do we bring them into conversations, as Kulola was saying? But then again, we look at Pori Radio, which is our latest one.
Yeah. You're actually a radio presenter. That's good stuff.
She's the producer
I'm
in the show.
that one.
Oh, amazing. Yes,
we
we're in
have
the
our
same
radio,
space.
we have our radio presenters, Chango and Doa,
Yeah.
and it keeps going.
Good stuff.
But with that one as well, we are looking at what is development doing to us as a people. We need to develop as human beings, yes,
Yeah.
but at what cost? And when we say sustainable development, what do we mean? What are we willing to let go? What are we willing to compromise for that development?
Yeah.
Are we looking at what the animals, the trees, and everything else is doing? But also, are we listening to our leaders or anybody who comes forth, or the investors who say, "Oh, I'll build this here," like build for us a mall at the cost of the trees, and how many of those?
Right.
When we think of us as a country, and in terms of the roads and the SGR and all these highways we want to have.
By the way, I want to jump in there.
You know,
I want to ask you.
what
I
cost?
remember the president was the president talked about him making it law and allowing folks to actually cut down mature trees in a certain forest.
In the Mao.
In the Mao, actually.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a good thing? Do you think Kenyans are responsible enough to only identify mature trees? Wes, I see you want to jump in there.
Oh
Do you
God.
think we're responsible enough to actually just identify mature ones and let the others grow?
No.
I think one of our setbacks is our politics and our politicians,
Yeah.
starting from the top, because they do not understand what we're up against, what these trees mean. A live tree, a tree that is alive, takes in a lot of carbon that people don't know. It's our carbon deposit. It's people pay, airlines pay what they call carbon credits because we have those trees. So when you say that now we can cut them, and we know Kenya, people will not just look at mature trees. People will cut the whole thing. Because again, you had one of the other politicians saying Nairobi National Park should now be
remember.
should
for
be open
people to
for people to live. And I'm thinking, it's a destination. People come to Kenya because of that park.
Yeah.
People come to Nairobi because they want to see the park within the city. And so when you cut down these trees, then you cut them and you don't plant them. We had a plan to plant how many trees?
Billion.
A billion trees.
Yeah.
But again, how many trees again? And it's in our play. How many trees?
Actually, it's
Some people
15 billion.
15 billion. How many of those trees? Currently, if there's a research that is done, how many of those trees that were planted are still alive? How many people go back to say, "I'll water my tree until it gets to a certain level"? Nobody does that.
Kulola,
Yeah.
you've just heard how passionate Wes has been about this conversation.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. What's the biggest lesson that you've learned and you think folks can learn out of watching the Elephant Queen and of course the outreach program in itself? What are some of the biggest lessons that guys can walk away with?
Personally, I think one of my biggest lessons is you take away whatever you want to take away. For instance, when you're watching that film, for instance, when you come and live with us and see how we work, or be in the outreach program, in the screening, or you look at Kenyan politics, or you listen to Spice FM, you have the choice to take away whatever you want to take. And for me, generally, since I was small, I've seen a lot. I have had a lot, but I have chosen to take away that I can be part of the people who want to change the world, the people who want to take care of our environment, people who want to fight for our wildlife, fight for our elephants, people who are at the front line to work towards coexistence, peaceful coexistence with these animals. And yes, we all have a choice. Same choice as Wes is talking about, choosing to cut down those trees in Mau. It's a choice. Even if the president gives an order or our leaders give an order, then are we sane enough to know that, hey, we cannot do that just because there is a permit to do it, or we cannot poach anymore, or we have to make a choice, a sane one.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we need to be responsible enough to make, our own choices. And what about you, by the way? Well, some of the lessons that I guess you've walked away with off of this whole experience of you being part of the outreach, and also the documentary in itself that Kenyans can relate with.
Wow, I think in terms of the documentary itself, it's really that love and protection goes a long way, because the moment you know that really for sure this I love and uphold, and then you are definitely going to protect it at all costs. At all costs. And we see it in the film. And so then for me, I'm constantly looking at it and I'm like, if this is a lesson I'm getting from elephants, then I want to translate it in my own way as a nane, as a human being. And I'm like, what is this that I really want to prioritize, to love and then protect? Is it just gonna be the materialistic things that I can have? Is it gonna be just my son? Is it gonna be my own family? To what extent am I going to go to? And why would I want to protect? So then it just goes beyond in that sense. But when I think in terms of the interaction and the experiences that we're getting in the bush, in the wild, as we go across the country, it's in the sense of also, what am I willing to compromise?
Wow.
Really, what am I willing to compromise? Because it's a lot. And for truth is, communities are wounded, communities are going through a lot, and sometimes you stand there and you actually also torn in between. You're like, okay, so how do we go about this? But at the end of the day, what will we then compromise for today, so that in 30 years to come, as Wes says, we're not going to bring down a tree that it took it 50 years to get to that size.
Wes, let me ask you something real quick. Most Kenyans have never been to, some of these vast natural ecosystems like the Tsavo, Amboseli, the Mara. We mostly have a relationship with the urban settings and spaces. Do you think we understand the dire need? For real, do you think we understand the dire need to protect some of these vast natural spaces?
I think truth is, Kenyans do not yet know that we are not alone in this world. And sometimes I think as Kenyans, we just feel we're human beings. Let's live like human beings. We forget the part of wild animals. And we forget that because we don't see it. Even if we go many people go for a drive, but most people just want to see the big five, and especially the big cats. Once you see the big cats, now you're tired. You want to go back home.
The tour is over.
The tour is over. I saw a lion and I saw a leopard. I'm gone. But we do not investigate. We do not look at the reason. We do not see the lessons that the wild is teaching us. And there are lots of lessons. We've been in the bush enough to sense that, for example, we sleep in tents, by the way. We sleep in tents everywhere. We sleep in the parks, we sleep outside the parks. And we've been
you guys are wild.
We're wild. And we've had nights where elephants have come to the camp at night, and we would be texting with a nane. And it's like, Nana, did you hear that? And she's like, yes, I heard that. Where are they? They're like, I'm like, they're just under your tent. And they're eating. And you realize that these things are so gentle. They have no problem with you. They know you're right there. We've been in positions where we've seen a snake inside our rooms, and you help it out.
What?
Or if the outdoor showers. You
because they come to get some warmth.
That's a black mamba. Oh,
or
okay,
hippos,
guys. Or hippos. Or buffaloes.
Or hyenas when you're going to take a shit.
Or hyenas. You're going out and you're like, oh, hyena. And so we don't know. And because people don't know, people don't feel the need to protect. And truth is, these things are beautiful. They're so beautiful that without them,
Yeah.
you realize, oh, something is wrong.
Yeah.
And
Fascinating.
this is what we keep saying, and it's documented that if we had no wildlife today,
Yeah.
even the ants, the insects that we see, if they disappear today,
Right.
it would take us less than 6 months as human beings
Yeah, you know, as
to
you talk-
survive.
I'm sorry, I had to jump in there. You know, while you're talking, I'm reminded of that time for COVID. You know, apparently, because we were mostly indoors. Apparently, that's when nature was. And the wild was trying to reclaim its own space.
Yeah.
And suddenly the world became greener.
Yeah.
Plants were all over. Remember, right? Yeah. Like even I remember where I used to stay in Kisumu, there's like a little river going on. But now that area literally became like a swamp. And you could hear the frogs. And the world was really just awake once again.
Yeah.
And I want to jump onto the next question, Kulola,
Yeah.
as we wrap up. Most people would want, documentaries and more films like the Elephant Queen, right? So what other resources can children, get, hold of, that you guys are actually working on, for example? Yeah.
I'd say the Mimi Nawewe Learn to Read reader series.
Yeah.
That, and which is available for everyone on the website for sure.
So the website is elephant.co.ke.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a brilliant, beautiful website, and it has a bunch of resources right there. So guys, you might want to.
We also have educational videos there.
Yeah.
That talk about the lifespan of an elephant and what the trunk means and what period of adolescent. Actually, elephants also have that period. Like it just does a whole lot of series. They're coloring picture books.
There's a bunch of ebooks.
Nice illustrations.
Dude dreams of dung.
Yes.
Wewe wants to play.
Yeah.
Kylie rides an elephant. It's a long way down. That's beautiful. So you just go check out
and
the
there are
website.
mentorship series as well for the especially the high schoolers, the teenagers. And under the mentorship series, it's just all about the conservationists and scientists. Kenyans talking about how their journey started. We also have podcasts, Tales of the Bush. Tales from the Bush. And it's the film directors also
there you go.
narrating how the experience was. So it's a very resourceful.
And this is really well documented, well curated. The cinematography is amazing. Are there any other massive projects you guys are working on, Kulola?
Well,
Because I know for the Elephant Queen apparently took about 10 years.
yeah.
Jeez, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Any other projects maybe that's in we need to be looking out for?
We kind of have one. And it will follow behind another film called Queen of Trees.
Okay. That's amazing. I'm looking forward to that one.
A lot is coming up for sure. We are also cooking how to do the mentorship on the ground with young people. So we're really constantly, as we go again, we're like looking into it and seeing what else is where is the gap and how can we really catalyze this further.
All right, so before I let you guys go, you guys want to sing?
Of course.
Of
course.
So, what are we going to sing about?
We will sing this song. We won't tell you about it.
Okay,
but
fine.
we want
I
you
like
to,
that.
we want to know what it makes you feel. after
Even
you hear
better.
it.
I like emotion. Twende kazi. Man. Oh my God. Yo, I have never experienced anything like that, man. You guys killed it. Such a powerful experience for us to tap into. You know, while you guys were singing, while you were making the sounds, you took me to places I guess I haven't even been to. You know, somewhere deep in the wild. You know, I was loving it, you know. And it just gets to show us that we can actually live side by side with the animals. We can conserve our environment. This has to be a responsibility that everyone has to be a part of.
Yes.
And I'm very, very grateful to be a part of this conversation. I'm very happy that you guys are actually here with me. And how can guys be a part of this conversation? How can guys support you guys? You know, what's your contact information? And Anna, I know you want to talk about that.
Yes, please.
No, I wanted to say probably without it going, because I'm sure maybe someone is seated somewhere thinking, okay, then how are they getting their support?
Yeah.
We partnered with almost 50 conservation organizations across the country, and because they're already doing the groundwork, and we are actually just going in to nourish and support what they've already started. And kudos to all of them. And then of course along the way, then for the outreach, and our founders and directors have also gone an extra mile to look for sponsors, and we have Bestseller Foundation, Save the Elephants, Great Plains, Kivukoni International School. And there are people who are behind us and supporting us through this. And for us, we're actually saying more corporate support will go a long way, because as you hear me saying this, corporate is also not in it. So corporate support will go a long way. Keeping the outreach on the road is also massive.
You know, I see a bright future for you guys.
Thank you.
Doing something so powerful.
But
And of course,
also
guys
at the
can
same
join us.
time, at the same time, we're saying Kenyans, man, we are out there, and we are open for people to come join and experience what we're doing. We're inviting people. We're like, people, please come. You know, on Instagram we're there. We are daily posting in places where we are at.
And I love your IG. I love it. Let me ask you. You know, there's a young Kenyan out there who's listening to you right now. They're very passionate about the planet. But they're saying, how do I even start? You know, Kev, this is such a big deal. You know, me, I'm just somewhere in Doni. You know, what would you tell folks like those?
I think for those, we keep saying every young Kenyan right now, if not most of them, like we see smartphones, even in the communities where we're going, we see smartphones, and it's as simple as when you get on TikTok, if you're really passionate, say it that day, say what you're passionate about in terms of nature, and just say how you feel, or probably just put a picture or whatever you're doing. Because we keep it to ourselves, and then others don't see it, others don't get inspired, and that's why we're like, we won't keep it to ourselves anymore. We will go out there. I think for me, my take is the phones are everywhere. Let's keep using them the right way.
And I always wish that, you know, the Gen Z movement would also be a conservation movement.
Apparently Gen Zs are passionate about the environment.
They're very passionate. And so that
Kula is right here,
Gen Z. So that for me is somewhere to tap into. It should not always just be about politics. It can be about these things that really matter. Because at the end of the day, you know, the politics will always be there. But the world can slip out of our hands if we don't become proactive with it. And also, it can slip, by the time we're done with the politics, we come back and we're like, oh, where did what go?
We don't have a world to live in.
We don't have a world to live in.
It's true. I love it.
And also, just to add on, it has reminded me of something I've seen on as we walked in to the studio about, it's a quote. I've just seen something like, it's never too crowded. I don't know the first part. Like, they can never, we can never be enough conservationists. And if anyone is out there and is really in love and wants to make a change as a conservationist, Mimi Pia was among those people, those Gen Zs who sat at home and thought, how do I make a change? And you can always, for instance, when you go to our website and see all those partners, for most places we've been to, we found volunteers from where? Canada, Switzerland, and yet there's opportunities open for our people, for our youth, for our Gen Zs to be to just volunteer in conservation organizations. And also for me, I went to Elephant Queen trying to create Pori Radio, and then since I love conservation, but I didn't have a very big there wasn't much I could do, but
Right.
I could write songs, and I wrote a first song on conservation with the Elephant Queen, and that's how
Yeah.
I am impacting the world slowly.
Yeah. And I think you're going places. You have such a beautiful voice. Keep on doing what you're doing.
Asante.
Yeah.
And our culture, yeah, shags.
Yeah.
I mean, our shags is always
It's
like
true.
our to go to from the
Yeah,
cities.
yeah.
So that's within our culture and those little traditions that we have, we
Yeah.
keep them going because there's a lot of indigenous knowledge as well in terms of conservation.
All right. So, talk about your platform real quick. Your radio platform.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
Pori Radio.
I love that. So
Yeah. Yes. Look at this.
Pori Radio,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pori Radio in
yeah.
essence is a play.
Yeah.
And it's
wow.
a play.
Oh.
It's not a real radio.
Yeah.
It's a play.
It was a real radio.
But let me tell you about the
Yeah.
best thing about this.
Yeah.
We're here on radio.
Yeah.
And the reason why we chose to use Pori Radio as a symbol
Yeah.
for the play is because radio is big.
Yeah, it's true.
Radio is big.
It's true.
And you're talking about mainstream
Yeah.
media getting into conservation. Let me
Yeah.
tell you, radio, the places we go to,
Yeah.
people don't
Everybody
have
listens
screens.
to radio.
People listen to
That's the
radio.
beauty of the radios. Love it.
So for us,
Yeah.
the radio, we're using radio as the symbol
Yeah.
of the information, of the symbol of the voice that we will need more people in this. And so for this is like from the stage, from the theater stage,
Yeah.
Pori Radio to Spice. Now
Yeah,
it's like
now it's becoming live.
true.
it's becoming true. It's
Yeah.
becoming
It's
true.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then of course we have Wild and Live,
Yeah.
and this is our team podcast as well.
Yeah.
And we were talking about how do we go about the podcast and everything else, because we have lots and lots of information,
Yeah.
and we get back to camp, do our debriefs, we laugh, we enjoy, but it's when it's within us.
Yeah.
And so then we thought, let's do that podcast and see. And just say what we experience to people, because our friends, family, they follow us, they see pictures,
Yeah.
but probably now it's just 1-2 people who get to also hear how your day
Exactly.
was, because you also get home
Yeah.
back to camp late.
Exactly.
So the podcast is also there.
Good stuff.
But yeah, with Pori Radio, it's all live, and we don't
Yeah.
have a frequency. But
Yeah.
your next location,
That the best.
Is
thing-
that-
That's
That's
Yeah, that's
a frequency.
Pori Radio. You gotta recognize.
and
Yeah.
it has a tagline.
Yeah. What's that?
Your voice.
Yeah.
Is our voice. Mimi na wewe pamoja.
You guys are too much. I love it. Thank you so much for coming through. I've really appreciated it.
Oh,
Thank
It's
you.
been a long,
you.
valuable conversation. Like I always say, too much resource. You guys you're adding so much resource to the country, and we appreciate you for what you're doing. Asante ni sana.
Thank
Thank you as
Thank you.
well.
Great job
Happiness
too.
as
Thanks.
well.
Thanks
Thank
a
you
lot.
so much.
Asante
Yeah.
sana.